Hi, I'm Adam Klobi, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press today. I am so happy to be joined by Adam Klobi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. And I'm so excited to chat with you about your new single. But before we get into the new music, what can you share about your background in the arts and what sparked that passion in you?
For sure. Background in the arts is super. I don't know how to answer these questions. I'm not very good at this, but anyways, I think growing up I was super creative in all aspects, but it really latched onto me a few years back when I found my passion for writing and kind of just making all things music. When I figured out I could sing, it was like a big step. And I don't think I put down a guitar for the last, 3, 4 years of my life. So I think it's a really, really important thing for everybody, especially myself, to just have something creative outlet wise. I'm just really glad I was able to make it a career.
You mentioned the guitar. Are you self-taught?
Yeah, I think I started learning like 3 years ago, and I just picked up my cousin's guitar. I was very fortunate. He let me borrow it. No clue what a G chord was. Literally had no idea how to work my way around it, but I just learned every possible cover that I could. And I fell so deeply in love with it.
I read something about, well, I guess the borrowed guitar was your cousin, but a spontaneous Uber sing-along. What's the story
Yes.
behind that?
Um, I was actually just watching the video. There's like a video of it. Funny enough, but I think it was May of 2023. Um, yeah, we were driving downtown. I was still living north of the city with my parents, and we were going out for somebody's birthday, and we were just yelling like we do, just along to the Chili Peppers. I think it was By the Way or something. And my friend paused the music, and he's like, "Why can you sing?" He's like, "No, no, you have like a really good voice." And I was like, shut up. I don't know what you're talking about." But it put like a little worm in my ear, and I went home and was hanging to my phone, listened back. Maybe, I don't know, but it really did spark something. And I thank him all the time. And yeah, that was like the very, very first spark for sure.
Sometimes you just need like that little push and that little encouragement. And I guess, less than half a year later, you started posting those acoustic covers on TikTok at the end of 2023. So
Yeah.
what motivated you to join the platform and what were your goals at that time?
I Yeah, I filmed quite a few like just covers and I had them on my phone for months. Genuinely. Never thought about posting them once. I've always had like a big struggle with self-image and putting myself out in front of cameras and in front of the world seemed absurd and seemed like it would never happen. But I had constant support and people just saying, you should just post them. You should just post them. You should just post them. And uh a friend at the time actually took my phone and posted one without me knowing, which was cool. I was pretty upset, but got like 200 likes. And I was like, hold up, like 200 people, if they're standing in front of you, clapping, like that's sick. So I'll post the next one. And then I post the next one and the next one. And I just started having fun with it. And I realized when I didn't post, there was people like, when are you posting the next one? And I fell in love with that process first, funny enough. And then started just like writing and really falling in love with that process. And it kind of went hand in hand.
We'll talk a bit more about the writing and, your original music in just a bit, but I have
Yeah.
to say I saw like at one point you were posting daily, so it was the anticipation of people waiting for you to
Yeah.
post. And I think some of my favorites were Glue Myself Shut. I know Noah Khan was like such a constant for you over the
Love Noah.
years. Harry Styles, Fine Line, anything by the Fray, really. And it was really cool to also see some artists that you covered recognize your videos, like Gigi Perez. I know
Yeah.
she was one.
Yeah. Those like first steps when I like quit my job last year, and like really began going crazy and posting all the time and just going on TikTok live, just trying to make anything work. Those like first posts that were they did like relatively well, like really put a battery in my back and helped me like, all right, this is something. There's something I can chase here, and especially when you get recognized by someone you look up to, or it's surreal.
So you mentioned quitting your retail job. That was Aritzia. I
It
think you
was
posted
Aritzia,
before that
100%.
you missed the discount. I have friends that kind of work in that company, and they're like the
Yeah.
best thing about it is the discount.
Oh,
So
it's
you had to
beautiful.
let that go, unfortunately. But you were on to brighter pastures with music. So tell me about making that leap to pursue it full time, that career decision. What were those doubts that you had to overcome, and what steps did you take to be in the position you are today?
Yeah. I mean, that was a leap for sure. It was not, in hindsight, the smartest decision I could have made, but it was a necessary one. And it was last August. I was just like everyone else. I was just working hard and tirelessly and kind of fed up with how it was going. And the only thing I would ever look forward to is just playing music and singing and writing. So I had about 8 months of rent saved up at this point, and I'm like, all right, I have 8 months to make it work. That's good. So I quit like cold turkey, no followers on anything, like maybe like 2,000, like across all platforms. Um, but I just posted and posted and posted and posted and played. And 5 months later, I was dead broke. And I was like, oh, wait, I don't have 8 months. I maybe miscalculated a little bit. The money went quicker than I thought. I started looking for work, but couldn't find anything for like 2, 3 months, and very scary position, maxed out multiple credit cards, didn't want to admit to my parents that I was screwed. But February rolled around, I finally got a job, and I was super like, okay, maybe I can make this work. I'm still, I don't know, I could do it, maybe. Was posting some snippets and stuff like that on TikTok, just some original stuff. And I got to like hour four of this like 5 hour orientation, and um, the guy running the show was just like, "Hey, so if you guys want to like pay your rent with this job, you might want to find another job, um, because yeah, like you'll get one shift a week, maybe two." And I'm just sitting there defeated at this point, and not knowing what the next steps are. Um, but I left and looked at my phone. My manager called me 15, 20 times, and I called him back. He's like, "Go look at TikTok." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Go look at the videos." And I looked at the user videos, and there was like 10,000 within the first 3 days I posted just a snippet of dinner. And he's like, "You're flying out to LA tomorrow, and we're gonna try and see what we can do." And needless to say, I didn't have to work that job, which is great. Just very in the nick of time.
And it's kind of like it's almost a sign that it happened during that around that time of the orientation where you were like, okay, this might not be it. And
Oh, I
now
was
you're with the Dark Room, which is such has such an impressive small roster. So to be part of that list must feel pretty special, and they clearly believe in what you're doing as well.
it's crazy. I mean, to even have share a label with like someone like Billy is crazy. It's absurd, and I'm forever like grateful to be a part of a team like this, and can't wait to just like keep expanding.
Because you're only really less than a year into that musical journey, like officially releasing
Yeah,
music. I'm curious, who are the artists that inspired you initially to create music, and are they reflective of who you are as an artist today?
I think growing up in like the 2000s to the 2010s. It's super, like, I think everybody's music taste is pretty extensive, and I think I'd be doing a disservice to list like one or two. But I mean, as you could see, there's so many influences, and I think it really just depends on the mood I'm in. But someone who I definitely nod my hat to is an artist called Medium Build, who is genuinely just his writing is just super vulnerable and so me. And I think that watching that story kind of unfold with him really helped me to decide to take the leap myself.
How have your personal tastes shifted from then to now? Like, are there specific genres that you listened to before that maybe have kind of changed or evolved today, and who your favorite artists are?
100%. I think it changes like monthly, to be fair. But um growing up, I listened to like pop punk and rock, and it's super like grounded in everything rock, I think. But getting into like the early 20s, I guess, folk kind of pushed its way through, and I got on that Noah Kahn bandwagon pretty heavily, and I absolutely enamored with his writing. His writing is like something I'm like I'll always try to replicate, but I'll never do it. It's just so good. Um, I think what's super important is finding who I am as an artist. It's like a really big jump, especially with the amount of extensive pieces that I'm drawing from, to still make it me at the end of the day is like something I'm daily trying to do. It's a mission for sure.
I mean, it's always good to have someone to kind of, aspire to be, but like you
Yeah.
mentioned, kind of carve your own path as well. Where do you source inspiration from in your music? Like, how would you describe that songwriting process and how you capture and think through new ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I'm writing or in the studio, it's more of a thing like, how what is this going to feel like? How am I going to capture an emotion? How am I going to present something that's going to have the broadest capture of just like feeling, and whether that be sad, happy, mostly sad. Um, it's just, how can I do this without having to use the most specific of words, or without having to use the most specific of sounds. It's just a blanket, pretty much. I want everything to feel like just like a blanket of emotion, I guess. And that's what I've been trying to do, especially with this new project coming. I'm super excited.
Something you did say before, which I love, was that music and songwriting is my way of making sense of the world, but at its core, it's about connection, which I think is so reflective of the music you've released thus far. And that includes Dinner, which you
Yeah.
mentioned. You officially released that in March. Gained a lot of traction on TikTok. It's a really important song about eating disorders. It touches on body positivity and body dysmorphia. Who did you write it for, and how has it been to see the positive response and how it's connected with others?
Yeah, I think it's such a surreal thing because I wrote that on my parents' porch, like, and I wasn't necessarily writing it specifically about one thing, one person, but I was just like feeling a type of way, and I was feeling really like self-deprecating, very like that week, I remember. And I was having a really tough time with my skin that past couple months, and I really wanted to write something, and I didn't want it to be an exact reflection of, oh, my skin, my acne, my this. It's like, so I was like, I'm gonna like write outward on a topic that feels like a lens rather than just like me word for word writing. And I'm so glad that so many people were able to connect to it and gain a sense of like peace and understanding with it. It's I'm truly so grateful, and I'm hoping that I know it continues to be that like thing that people can lean on.
I think it was done with such a nice sensitivity and care, and people have done covers of it. I know I saw someone on Instagram do like an improv dance to the song, so it must be so special to see how people like interpret the words and the music in their own light as well.
It's it's yeah. I have no words actually to have something that like I wrote and I put my heart into without expecting anything in return. Um, is yeah. I don't think I'll ever actually be able to comprehend it, to be honest with you. I'm just super grateful.
Earlier this year, you released Peace of Mind with fellow Toronto musician renforshort. Tell me about working with Lauren on the song and finding a place that incorporated both of your voices and styles.
Lauren's the best. Like Ren is the best. We started working together just like impromptu session. I was working with our producer Jeff Hazen, who's amazing. But he's like, I have this artist I work with. She wants to like get some more writing credits. Is it cool if she comes in and writes with you? I was like, for sure, like 100%. We wrote immediately. I was like, you need to be on this song. There's no question. And she was so down. And I was so happy about that. I heard her voice just sing the chorus and that we wrote together. And it was like, are we're doing this? And she was super reciprocating of everything. And to write and have someone be a part of something like this is so refreshing. I think after doing a lot of, it feels like being on your own as an artist is a very relatable thing. So to have someone to, I guess, take a passenger seat with you and take the drive is really nice.
There is a lyric in that song which is so striking. The like, I'll break the glass, I'll cut my hands rebuilding pieces of your mind till I find peace in mine. It's like also mixed with such a large sense of self-awareness as well. So I kind of love the juxtaposition, going back and forth between the two of you, and your voices blended so well. So I really hope that you have future collaborations or you could do another duet down the road. How was your experience filming the 500 Days of Summer inspired music video? Like, who came up with that idea, and how was it to recreate some of those scenes?
Yeah, my sister and I were just thinking we really wanted to like this song itself for me is so like cinematic and such like a big grandiose, especially the ending. We wanted to just tie it to something that we both loved, and that movie is like such a classic for us. We love that movie to death. And the second we saw the elevator scene again, we were like, we should recreate it. Oh my god! And then she's like, let's do it. Ren was, of course, so down, and that whole day of shooting was like so long, and it was my first like real swing at a music video, and wow, was it a lot of work, but it was so cool, and I'm so glad we got it done, and we're able to like pay homage to it and kind of connect those two things.
I feel like Tom and Summer's relationship is also like really a footprint for the song as well. It, like you said, it relates so well. As your first official duet, what did you learn coming out of that experience? And is there anything you would do differently in a future collaboration?
Funny enough, I don't think that there was literally one thing wrong with that collaboration. I think from the jump, Lauren was just the easiest person to work with and super down for like just anything, which was so cool. I think the one thing I learned is that I want to do more of them. To be fair,
So I was going to say she set the bar very high. So
she did.
everyone else has standards that they have to live up to
She
in
she
future
she definitely
collabs.
did. Yeah.
Let's talk about that new single now. We Were Never Just Friends. That was co-written with Harry Charles and Davin Kingston. What inspired the narrative behind the song, and how were those writing sessions for you?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that song, I think on like the second day I got out to LA in the summer. We wrote it in like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, and it was pretty much done. Like we all just like connected, and we pushed out that song like it was so like we all just like had a piece of it, and we all like knew what it was right off the bat. Like I wanted just to have like a big open soaring chorus, and like I was saying before, just like emotion, not letting the lyrics have to be too focused on, and just letting the instrumental kind of like drive the song. And I think we really had a special time doing that.
How did you shape the sound and tone that you wanted, and like what specific influences were you inspired by? Like what instruments and techniques did you end up using in the final version, like on the
Mhm.
production side?
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite music, like growing up and even to this day, is 2000s music, and especially like albums like Parachutes and A Rush of Blood to the Head, like early Coldplay stuff, and Goo Goo Dolls and The Fray, and just stuff that just like is timeless. It's so evergreen. I was like, let's make something that's evergreen, and let's try and use some elements that are like very band like. And if you hear this song, you could pick up four guys and get on stage and play it like a band would. Um, so like yeah, adding those pianos and guitars and live drums is the yeah, that was the backbone of that song for sure, and most of these songs that are coming.
I'm just curious, so were you ever like in the studio or in a room with other artists, like doing their instruments, or were they kind of added in post or when you weren't around?
No, I mean, I was pretty much co-producing it the entire time. That entire first session was we got most of it done, and then um I think a month and a half, 2 months back, we went and tied a bow on the song with Calvin Lober, who's a great producer and friend. And we just added a few more guitars. We retracked drums and did live drums, and yeah, we really made it come to life with everything live.
That final bridge portion into Don't Lie, You Love Me Then, and then the guitars come in. It's just so great on the ears. I mean, what a hook. So it was very, I feel like reminiscent of like the early
Mhm.
2000s, more of like the pop rock kind of
Yeah,
era. You are working on your debut EP. You kind of mentioned project earlier. It's set for release in 2026 as of today. What can you share about this current chapter and what you've been working towards?
yeah. I mean, exactly like you said, it's just that feeling of nostalgia and that 2000s rock, things I grew up with, things that are gonna sound great in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years because they sounded great 20 years ago. Um, but every song is kind of a different little piece of the 2000s. I think not one of the tracks is like identical to the other, which is really fun for me. There's some really fun moments on it, and some pop punky stuff, and some real rock stuff, and some softer things, which is really cool. So I'm excited for the roller coaster that it's gonna be.
Will we be seeing some of like the music that you've teased on TikTok before kind of be on the release, or are you thinking
Um,
it's completely new? Because you have teased a lot of music that has yet to see the light of day.
yeah, and sadly, it will never see the light of day, most likely. But that's just like the thing with growing so fast and having things at my disposal that I didn't a year ago, and being able to write without just me and the guitar. there's some limitations with that. You know, there's a ceiling with you and an acoustic guitar or you and a piano, and the second you start writing with people that are able to exercise your vision better than you can on your own, it's you can do things that you wanted to do all along, I guess.
I like how you described it as growth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the journey, obviously, but I know you're very excited for what's to come. You have posted Instagram stories in the studio with artists like Adam Melcher and Sasha Sloan. How have these sessions been coming along?
Oh, they're so great. I love working as much as possible, actually. It's just if I'm not writing, it's a little boring for me. I can't lie. So I always love to be in the studio and working with and for artists, and um they just like being able to like gain knowledge from people who've been doing it for way longer than I have is the most. I'm just the most grateful for it and excited to keep doing it.
There's often a gap between when you've teased and posted an unreleased song, similar to Dinner, to when it officially releases. So, how has that waiting period been for you? Are you someone to get restless, or do you stay patient and trust in the process?
It's definitely a restless situation for sure. I think most artists can feel the same way I do with just the way it is. It's just how it works, and you got to post and try and get as many eyes on your music as possible. But it's never too long, and it can never be posted too many times. It's always a good thing. It's free, you know. Posting is free, and free is good.
I think maybe you have that mindset when you're starting out, but maybe later on you're like, I've been posting this for like a year now. I wish
No,
it was officially put out there.
I already feel like that. Don't worry, but you got to stay positive when you can.
That's the right attitude to have as an artist. Visuals have played an important part in as part of your brand so far. How do they add to your story? And tell me about finding collaborators who you're able to work with to convey what you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was super lucky enough that my sister, who is a tremendous creative, was on board from the beginning, and yeah, I'm super grateful she even takes the time still out of her day to help me and really had all things creative. She's been connecting the dots on a lot of these projects and bringing in people that she trusts. And man, there's some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't want anybody else to be there.
It's so special to work with a sibling on something like this in a creative outlet. Something I wanted to ask about was like the symbolism in the lyric video for Rut, which was like you and your younger self. So how is it to kind of, film that, knowing the story behind it and the lyrics, of course, that you wrote?
Yeah, I mean, a song like that is just such a look inward, and everybody, I mean, like literally everybody battles with some form of depression or loneliness, and I feel like it's almost like a love letter to my younger self to be like, you don't have to like search so hard to find what's gonna find you. Like you just have to live and work and try every day. But the things that are meant to find you will find you, and it's not about how hard you look and how high you can jump and how like it's just about doing what you think is right and doing what your parents think is right. Listen to your parents, you know. Not always, but most of the time.
It was such a beautiful message, and I love the video behind that as well. You have amassed many fans across your platforms, listeners as well. What has their support meant to you?
I wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't this immense support. Like it's genuinely as amazing as it is. It's so hard to consistently get back on the horse when things don't work out properly. But when you look and you see the same faces over and over and over, and they're just constantly there showing their love and support, and there's some people that are listening thousands of times, like in the first weekend when I drop a song, and I've there's countless times where I sit there in awe, like I don't understand the love and support because I love and support other artists, and I'm like, oh wait, that's how they feel, and it's just so crazy that someone would do that for me. I, I don't know. I'm grateful, and hopefully, the net gets wider and we can pull some more people in.
There have been people that have been following you since those early days on TikTok. I know a lot of them missed your fit checks. You did a lot of them on the
Yeah,
subway too, on
yeah,
on the TTC. Those don't make their way on your pages as much anymore.
yeah. I mean, the more eyes I got on me, the more self conscious I got with everything I was posting. I was like, okay, this has to be something good that I'm posting, and it's a flawed thing. You got to just post and have fun with it, and I'm working towards it. Maybe you'll see some more coming your way, but
I saw a couple of Instagram pages more recently that were dedicated to you, Adam's family and Adam Klobi HQ. So I'm not sure if you saw those pages, but it must be surreal to know that, there are kind of like update accounts for you now.
it's funny. I was like, is that us doing that? And like the label's like, no, we don't know who that is. And I like they reach out to me. They're like, hey, we love you so much. And it's like the greatest thing ever. It's surreal. It's yeah. It makes my day. Like every time I see one of those posts because they're taking their time and really trying to help me. At the end of the day, they're really just they're supporting so much, and I can't pay those people back, but I'll try.
In your music, I'm sure it will just make their days brighter, right?
You can try always.
As a Toronto native, what does your perfect day in Toronto look like?
Ooh. Um, Driving to the airport and getting on a plane and leave. No, I'm joking. Right now it's so cold. I'm just not having it. But uh, I think keeping it simple and getting up pretty late, and then getting a coffee, grabbing lunch, walking around, thrifting a bit. Always love a thrift. Wandering into a record store, buying vinyls that I shouldn't. Um, Playing a guitar or two, meeting up with some friends, having dinner, and going to bed extremely late. I think that's a pretty solid day in Toronto.
I think you missed name dropping, like where you get your coffee, where you thrift.
I don't know if I want to dox myself, but anywhere in Toronto is pretty great for coffee spots and food. And that's one thing that is awesome about Toronto is how culturally diverse it is. You'll find any food that you could ever want and the best version of it. Because if it's not the best version of it, another spot will move into its place, and that will be the best version of it. So it's pretty great.
You also do love going to concerts, I know,
The
in
best.
Toronto. So do you have a specific venue that you've dreamt of performing at?
I love shows so much, and if there was a show in 100-meter radius of me, there's no way I'm not going to be there. So I think, I mean, history was always a great one over the last like 10 years, and the Danforth was one of my favorites because I that was like my first shows ever I seen. But I think Massey Hall is like the dream spot to play. It's a little bit more intimate and such like a beautiful historic venue. So Massey Hall is the one on the list.
I mean, fingers crossed in the near future when you have that release out. I have one more question for you, our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Hmm, that is so good. If you asked me when I was about 7, I would say bubblegum. But I think I'd say I'd say Oreo. I don't know. I really like Oreo. That's my answer. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just brings a little bit of everything to the table there.
That's a good answer. I like
Yeah.
it. And also, I feel like it does have nostalgia
That's
purposes in
true.
it as well. Like
Yeah,
everyone liked Oreos when they were kids growing up.
whenever I think of that like flavor ice cream, I think of going into my nonna, my grandmother's basement, and she'd have this big chest deep freezer, and there's always either like a tub of Oreo or Rolo ice cream, and we would just spoil our appetites with that all the time.
That's perfect. That's the
Yeah,
stories we like to hear, like the comfort ones. But Adam, it's been so nice chatting with you, getting to meet and hear about your music and your songwriting process. So hopefully catch you on tour someday
yeah.
soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for dealing with my long-winded answers.
We love the stories. Hopefully, we can catch up again in the future. But until then, for all those watching, Adam's new single, We Were Never Just Friends, is out now. Give it a listen. Show your love. Debut EP expected out next year. So stay tuned and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.